Yeah, do you remember Red? That was
Yeah.
yeah. Well, actually, that one was interesting because that cover, Chris Blackwell got involved in that. I went down to see him at Thiel, at his place down in Thiel, and I remember him saying to me, he actually dictated what he wanted on the cover. He said, "I want this picture, that one, and can you put the type like very small in the middle?" And I took it away, and I think I tore the images actually tore the photo. I got some prints made and actually tore the photographs up and then collaged it together and then did it the way he'd asked me to do it. So that was, I think that was the first one. And we did Anthem.
Well, the first one was Sensimilla. I know Tony Wright did that illustration.
Oh, Tony Wright did that one. Yes, sorry. Tony Wright painted that, and I did the red cover. That was one. I think that was my first one for them.
And was it Neville Garrick that did Chill Out?
Well, Chill Out's a photograph, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was photographed, I think, by New York photographer called Lynn Goldsmith.
Yeah, Lynn Goldsmith.
Yeah, so she photographed that. I'm not sure, I can't remember if Neville did that. Because there wasn't, generally, Neville would be doing, he tended to kind of do illustrations and.
Yes, but I think it was like the lettering that he.
Yeah, but possibly, yeah. I didn't, again, not that involved in that one.
Now, Anthem is the one that I really want to know about because it has 3 different releases.
Yeah, that was interesting. I went down to Jamaica to meet them, I was doing several projects and I was told, go, right, we need to do this cover for Black Uhuru. And I'd arranged to meet them at a particular location by near the coast. It was a kind of huge factory of some sorts that I thought would be a good, interesting backdrop. But I remember because I set the whole thing up. I brought a photographer with me. We got it all together. We turned up on the day, and they didn't show. And it was like, well, I've never had that happen before. They just don't show up. And they told us like soon come. But I didn't realize that meant that could be 24 hours or 36 hours later. But anyway, eventually, I think a day or two later, we actually finally all turned up to the same place at the same time. And as far as I remember, it had a different vibe. The cover I did a cover which was kind of cut out of the three of them, and it was all kind of yellow background. It was all a bit electronic, you know. I can't quite remember. Put images into the lettering. It must have reflected the music of that time, you know. I think maybe it was like electronics, and then. So we did a cover like that, and then there was another cover that we did, which was much more like a kind of Western type, which is complete contrast. I'd have to check whether that was maybe that was the single, but it was something quite different. But it was much more of a kind of.
That was the album cover.
Oh, that was the album.
Yeah, that was used for the Jamaican release, and as far as I know, the original release of the first mixes,
right?
Because it was later remixed.
Okay.
Yeah, and
it's a remix one that I made quite electronic. The whole thing, I think, possibly.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I did the other thing I remember doing with them was for What Is Life, the track What Is Life, and then we did. I was kind of interested in this whole I built a set where I'd got all sorts of stuff. Like it was supposed to be kind of like a street set, and it had broken TV in it, car parts and corrugated iron, and it was supposed to be kind of like a bit ghetto-y. The whole thing the vibe was. So we filled the studio with all these parts, and then I sprayed everything white. So it all became quite beautiful, right? So I think it's like, I can't remember, something inspired it, whether it was the snow falling, you know, like the perfect snow. Everything is like perfection. It doesn't matter what it is. So anyway, I spread the whole set white, and then we got this. I got a stylist in who is probably around the Mad Max time and that. So because they all dressed up in kind of like all this kind of Mad Max type gear, which they all loved. You know, it was leather studs and we photographed them. We did some kind of crazy lightings, and then Don Letts, the director, came in and he shot a performance video in that set. Basically, I mean, it was quite easy for him because he just walked into it was all set up for him. But they did a performance, and that was pretty popular. We released that in several sleeves. It was different colorways because we'd shot them with red, green, you know, gold or whatever, like different vibe. We lit it differently, and so that actually came out in several forms. So it became kind of like collectors in a way. We buy several copies of it, you know, so.
And it was also used for the US release of the Anthem album. Right. Yeah.
Well, possibly. I can't remember.
I've seen it. It is.
Yeah. The thing was, at the time, we were dealing with, we had an art department, but we were doing so much artwork. It was like every week there'd be 2 or 3 hours. I'd be on photo shoots, doing 2 or 3 shoots, and then maybe a video, and it was just constant. And we'd be organizing all these campaigns, you know. I built up quite a team around me, but we'd be design. My favorite thing was designing the street posters. So that's 60 by 40 inches, because that was fantastic, because we used to design, it'd be the image, whatever it was for the cover, and then we'd stick that on, and it'd be all, they'd put them all over town, all over the UK. They'd had guys posting these things. So you drive around London and you see the posters up. It was kind of like, so the battle was which posters were going to stand out, you know, and we did pretty well with those, you know. It was because they seemed to really value the art at Ireland, you know. It wasn't that, you know, so as I said, they never gave me a budget. They just told me to here's the act, you know. So we did whatever was required, you know.
Right.
It was incredible freedom, really. I mean, it was only it was at the end when the accountant stepped in and said, "You have X amount." I said, "Pardon?" You know. So no, it was great. The first time I kind of encountered Michael Rose was down in Jamaica. That might have been one of the first times I'd been down to Jamaica, and we were on the tour bus with them going into Sunsplash, and Michael. Well, I always remember it pulled up. The bus pulled up, and there was corrugated iron fence, and the security were beating people with these sticks. And it was incredible. They were trying, like, outside, they were trying to get in, they were trying to get into the bus or come around the bus or whatever. But I thought, my God, this is like so hostile. And they were like, it was quite violent, you know, this whole thing. And then anyway, we went into the place, and that was a shock, you know, as an impression. Then they did their show, and it was no, I was just going to say, it was with Black Uhuru, and I watched them at Sunsplash, and it was just like incredible, absolutely incredible. They're fantastic band, and just I've not seen anything quite like it. They had a particular sound, and it was. I mean, Michael wasn't. Again, I'm just like this guy who's from the record company. I mean, he gave me a bit of a hard time when I turned up. Just over, I think it was money or something. He thought I wasn't, you know, I could. He felt he'd been ripped off or this or that. I can't remember. I was like, I'm sorry, mate. I'm just the art guy here. You know, it's nothing to do with me. But no, he was. I was just saying that they were like they were very good. And I've just, in fact, funny, I'm designing a new cover for them now. There's a French label called Taboo One, who brought out the Taxi Tracks album, which is I've just designed that, and that's just come out. And there's another project we're working on at the moment, which is them performing live in a prison in LA called Soledad.
Oh, Soledad, yeah.
So I'm just working on the cover for the design for that at the moment.
Okay.
And the idea, if it all goes through correctly, we're going to make it an augmented reality cover where it's not true augmented reality, but we're going to try and do something that it's got trigger images on the package, so you can actually watch footage of the band playing on your mobile. So you'll be able to point your phone at the cover, and it will bring up the song, the relevant song, and you can see them perform in kind of like some rare footage that's shot of them. So just thought we'd try and make it a little bit special. But that's coming out probably next year. I'm designing it now, so we'll see.